Cara, great to see you. Happy holidays.
Hi, good to see you too. Likewise. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. I am with Cara Federici, who is president and CEO of Tekc Group. Cara, I'm going to ask you to go into that a little bit more because you also own, it's Madison Melle, right? Agency?
That's right.
And so she is also, she's a fellow entrepreneur, crazy person since she owns two companies. It's part of the deal in a lot of ways. So go into that a little bit. I'd love to hear a little bit about what you're doing, but also roll into, you're in the hospitality space. How interesting of a time to be in that particular vertical. I own a company in that space as well, as you know. So tell us about Tekc Group and Madison Melle, and then roll into how have you had to pivot this year? What are some takeaways as we are in Q4 of this unique year?
Yeah, sure, my pleasure. So yeah, once again, thanks for having me. So Tekc Group is a managed service provider, originating in the hospitality space, also serving other verticals, but in partnership with the Madison Melle agency, which some of the audience may know is a marketing and branding creative studio based in Los Angeles with teams across the globe. And our specialty, as I said, it caters to the hospitality industry, but has really grown over the past few years and services retail, real estate, technology sectors, and lifestyle brands of any kind. But relative to the hospitality industry, as you mentioned, it's been quite an up and down roller coaster this year, of course. And, we've had a lot of downs, but also some ups and some wins. And I think collectively with the two companies that we operate, we've had to pivot significantly. And the key to our success and continued growth and outlook in 2021 is staying dynamic. And any strategy that we deploy or any technique that we kind of discuss with our clientele is about staying in the present moment. And so we plan ahead, but then we also reserve time to take a second look at what we're doing and make sure that plan still makes sense, so that anything that we put out to our database is relevant and not coming off as tone deaf, especially as it relates to marketing messaging.
What have been the conversations you've been having with your clients, right, about what they're dealing with and how they're going through that, and how have you? I'm sure you probably had to be kind of part-time psychologist in some ways due to the vertical that we sit in.
Yeah, I think some of the conversations we're having specifically as we look back on 2020 and we try to adopt learnings and put that forward to 2021 is, we take the best of what we've done. We learn from our mistakes, and we just know that this is not a forever situation, that, it will improve, and you have to understand and be able to be nimble and be accepting of change. And I think, similar to what you said in terms of psychology, it's that change is difficult for anyone in any situation, regardless of, a pandemic or, other business, especially as entrepreneurs, other business ups and downs. So really trying to embrace change and accepting it, and just knowing that if you sort of put your head down and do your best, that's all that you can really do. I think in terms of some of the business strategy, though, conversations we're having as it relates to technology is, right sizing your business to, the environment we're in, looking at the market conditions and, looking at your vendor relationships, reassessing them, optimizing in any area of your business that you can, so that you are, that your performance is optimal given the conditions that are dynamic around you.
As you go into Q4, right, for the hospitality industry, Q4 is a huge piece of their overall budget, right? And you said, LA and those kind of things. Talk a little bit about how you kind of just, if we just put parentheses around Q4, how is Q4 shaping up in that space?
Yeah, well, fortunately, most of our clients that are hotels or hospitality businesses, we don't, only service hotels, but we've worked with them, early on in the year and have helped plan to wrap up Q4. So it's not a shock what's happening, but I think it's very dependent on the destination, specifically with travel and occupancy. Our clientele that are, of course, in drive markets are performing pretty well, significant to what's happening in the world. But other clients in, cities where, it's not domestic and, air travel has been restricted are having a more difficult Q4. But in either scenario, the story and situation is, regardless of what happens this year, next year is a continued opportunity to make up for the losses that you may have experienced, and with the right plan and the right strategy, focused on your specific markets, you can still succeed. So I don't think any of our clients are looking at Q4 as the end all be all of this year, as in most calendar years you would do that. Now it's sort of like, okay, let's just get through the rest of Q4 the best that we can, and now let's look at 2021 and see how we can optimize next year.
So let's go into 2021, right? As a leader, right? You're not only of the two companies that you own, but also, my guess is helping others wrap their arms around 2021 and how are they planning that? So a lot on your shoulders. What are some, and I know we're kind of wrapping up here, but what are a couple things that you're taking into those planning sessions and helping do that?
Yeah, I think just across the board as it relates to technology and, key communication messaging, a lot of things are probably common knowledge at this point, but, the contactless mobile experience is paramount, and it was already growing and really relevant to the hospitality industry before, but it's even more paramount now. So we're recommended to a lot of our clients to explore different forms of technology in that side of the space and find ways to implement that and optimize the experience for your guests so that they can be as comfortable and as safe as possible, returning to some, sense of normalcy, if you will. And then just making sure that, with the expansion of home and remote work, that you're set up for success with the right infrastructure, including, cybersecurity and, the way that your teams collaborate in a remote environment, and making sure that you thought that through and you have the right plans in place for that. And then lastly, I think with COVID, marketing in general has had ups and downs, and, people have stopped marketing completely and other people have marketed like crazy. And I think either extreme is, we wouldn't recommend going in either extreme, because on one hand, if you don't do any marketing, you're going to lose your market share and your position in the space. But on the other hand, if you do so much marketing, people are going to stop listening to you. So I think our sort of typical recommendation is find the right balance and definitely continue getting your messaging out there.
Beautiful. Let's leave it with that. Cara, thank you.
Great.
Have a great December and in 2021.
Thank you. You as well. Take care.
All right. Bye-bye.